Welcome back, gang. Max Packs here in the flesh. PSA has officially closed down on submissions under $80. It will cost you $80 or more to grade a card with PSA. Oh, and everybody's saving grace, Tag, has done the same thing. And I believe CGC is rumored to be doing, they're not going to close down, but they're extending their wait times. At least that is coming from the rumor mill. So we have two camps in this situation, whatever you want to say. Camp one, everyone is screaming, everything's going to crash now. And it's the junk slabs era. Again. It's the end of slabs. Raw prices are going to go down because people aren't going to go, oh, near mint, is it gradable? We've been here before. The other camp says everything's going to be super expensive. There's a bottleneck now. Extremely small pop counts. And everything will continue to go up, meaning even your 8s and 9s are going to actually have value. Well, I think everything's wrong. This has happened during cough season 2020. And as with everything, the answer is probably somewhere between Camp 1 and Camp 2, and a part of both will probably be true. In some select cases, PSA 8s and 9s might have some value. I mean, look at in the sports world, PSA 9s of Wemby are pretty valuable. You know, a raw card could be worth $50. PSA 9 of that card's worth about $100. The PSA 10's worth about $500. You don't really see that a whole lot in Pokemon, but it may happen, you know, in select cases. Maybe it's a Charizard. Maybe it's Phantasmal Flames Charizard. Maybe it's the Trikachu or the Gengar from Ascended Heroes or the brand new Greninja from Chaos Rising, because nobody can send them bulk, so now you're going to spend $80 to grade that card, and if it comes back a PSA 9, well, you just wasted $80. There might actually be a little bit of a premium on those 9s now. I can see it. I truthfully can. I think we will continue to see brand new high-end stuff be sent express grading. Even vintage stuff that is really nice, really clean will probably be sent in express grading, just because you expect, you know, really with vintage, PSA 9s and PSA 10s, depending on the card, are still valuable. So even if you think it's going to get a PSA 9, it's probably worth sending it in at $80. Ultra modern, now it's, you know, it has to be a PSA 10, and yeah, that's really it. If you get a 9, even at $80, to me, it's not worth sending. Even if you do get a small premium, you know, even if you make that $40 back, you're still wasting money, and to me, it's just not worth it. But other people, you know, they'll send thousands of cards a month, and, you know, to gamble, you know, okay, maybe I take a $40 hit versus now I'm going to make $500. To them, worth it. To me, I don't like to gamble with grading as much. You know, if I'm going to send something, mind you, I've rarely sent anything. It's probably been 2 years since I've sent a PSA sub. I have a fat stack. I just never did it because I was going to, and then they're like, oh, longer wait times. I was like, I'll push that off. And then I was going to again, and they're like, yeah, now the price has gone up. And I was like, well, now I'm not going to do it. And now they're like, closed. So thank you for choosing for me, PSA. I'll wait. No issues, right? However, during COVID, we did see a mix of both camps. In select cases, PSA 9s, I don't think PSA 8s, but PSA 9s did appreciate in value. You know, they were actually still worth sending in, but I mean, technically it wasn't worth sending in. It was, you got a 9 and it still had some sort of value. PSA 10s, in some cases, did skyrocket. Some cases, pop counts were kept low. Like there's multiple, you know, you have to look at each individual case individually to really determine these generalities. I believe we still saw brand new stuff that is expected to be very expensive in 10s. I believe that was still expressed through, and stuff that remained expensive stayed expensive. In my experience and my thought process is the stuff that was already in the backlog at bulk, it seemed to be rushed through as quickly as possible because obviously they want to get through, you know, their 10 million card backlog so they can take more subs, make more money. But to me, it seemed they were met with more quality control issues. And I personally had a card, a Tom Brady rookie card, get damaged by PSA. And you know what they told me? You know what they did when I complained? They told me to kick rocks. And it wasn't even that expensive a card. You know, it was like a college uniform, Tom Brady rookie. You know, I wasn't expecting a PSA 10. I was probably like an 8 or a 9. Nope. They damaged it and told me to kick rocks. Wasn't compensated for it. Nothing. So I'd fully expect more issues like that. Maybe they bring more people on, hiring wise. I don't know. You know, that's way above my pay grade. I'm not going to make assumptions or anything. To me, I think it would make sense to try to train some people, put that little bit of investment in, because when they open up, as long as, you know, sports cards are going bananas, Pokemon cards are going bananas, One Piece still has some good following, I think they're going to be pretty crazy when things open back up. So maybe it makes sense, you know, take a little extra time. You know, you already closed down all the cheaper tiers, like you might as well just take the time, train some more people. If you even can get people, people might not want to be grading cards. They might not want to be card graders. Who knows? But I fully expect more issues to come. I'd fully expect your PSA 10s that are already expensive to maybe get a little bit more of a bump. It's going to be a lot harder, more time consuming, or you got to pay up to get that 10 now. So I'd expect them to stay pretty expensive and maybe increase in value. I also think there's potential that, you know, there technically is a bottleneck now. It may artificially keep some pop counts low, which again, may keep prices high or make prices go up. I think in most cases, your PSA 8s are gonna stay raw price or lower. Your PSA 9s in select cases will be more expensive than raw, but I think in general, the generality, it's probably gonna be pretty close to raw still. Yeah, that sucks, but I just expect that to happen again. I know when PSA did get caught up, you know, I got my submission back. The cards that I did send in had dropped a ton in value, and my grades were a lot lower than I expected, and I had the quality control issues, and I was overall very, very disappointed with everything. You know, I had a card that was like, oh, if this got a PSA 8, it would have been, you know, $200. I got it back as a PSA 8, now it's worth 30 bucks. So a lot can change, you know. Junk slabs, you know, anything below a 10, is it a junk slab? At least for modern? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? Anything below a PSA 10 or anything 9 or lower is a junk slab now? As long as it's not vintage, you guys tell me. What do you guys think? I'm kind of curious because in my eyes, a PSA 9 does not move very well. A PSA 10 still doesn't move well if it's too expensive. If it's cheaper, you know, anywhere between $50 and like maybe $300, it might move decently well. But anything over that, I find $300 plus, stuff gets really hard to move unless you're in the right spot or you have the right connections, which I have neither. So it's going to be hard for me to move. Now, I can see that, you know, all these online mystery packs or gambling sites, whatever they actually are, I don't even know. I don't do that type of stuff, but I know they blow through PSA 10s and PSA 9s. I don't think most of them do PSA 8s, but I know they do PSA 9s and PSA 10s. They go through thousands of cards every month. They may put upward pressure, especially in 9s and 10s, on a lot of these cards. If they're popular cards in 9s and 10s, you may see an uptick because of that. You know, there's a lot of these websites or apps or whatever you want to call them, gambling apps, mystery packs, whatever, mystery slabs, whatever they're called. I don't watch them. Like I said, I don't deal with that stuff. It's not up to me. To me, it doesn't make any sense. Why would I, you know, spend $200 to potentially get, you know, a $500 card or potentially get a $100 card or a $50 card? Like, to me, like that's not fun. I don't have any joy in that. Because every time I get my ass kicked with stuff like that. So I don't care. Like, it's irrelevant to me. But that is the hot thing around, the hot thing out right now, and everybody loves that. So could that potentially make those cards go up in value? Absolutely, because that demand is not going away. And the people that send thousands of cards a month of your reverse holos, your EXs, and just junk cards like that, that really should not be graded. They're not going to be sending those in anymore because it's not worth it to send for $80 a card. So that should help quite a bit. Hopefully it does. You know, if my local doesn't want me to say this, I'm sorry, but I have a local who told me, he's like, you know, all those EXs, if they look really clean, they look really nice, I send them into grade because I can sell them for about 50 bucks a piece, and it paid for 2 of my cards to grade. So it makes sense. And in that regard, yes, but then when it gets a 9, it's a junk slab. It's like $1. Well, you just lost your ass off. So I see both sides of that, and I always look, hey, if I'm gonna lose my ass off, I'm not gonna do it. So to wrap up the video, my answer, I don't know. Like I said, I have stacks of cards to grade, but with everything going on between PSA scams, increased pricing, later turnaround times, I'm just waiting until things cool off of it. I am personally perfectly fine with that. Like, I don't need to grade the cards. It doesn't make or break my business at all. I don't really sell them. You know, at the bare maximum, it would be inventory for card shows or something I want to keep in my collection or something I can sell to further my collection. You know, I have some Destined Rival singles that I bought that look really nice. If they get a 9, crack them out, throw them in my binder. If they get a PSA 10, I have no love or connection or ties to some of those cards. I would just resell them, lets me buy the raw price, and it helps pay for my master set. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, to me, makes sense. But I'm not in a rush. Let's be real. It doesn't make or break my business. No rush for me. If I have to pay, you know, $15, $20 a card to grade them, I'll grade them, you know, in a year when it's $20 or $15. I'm really not worried at all. And to be fair, I don't think anybody gives a damn about CGC or Tag for grading. That's a whole nother story, but Tag doesn't sell locally. CGC doesn't sell locally. Maybe they do on eBay, but locally nobody wants either one of those slabs. Personally, I view those slabs as raw value. And people be paying premiums, and I don't understand that. I would never buy one of those cards for a premium, but that's just me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you bullish or bearish on graded cards now? Let me know. And as always, please like and subscribe for more Pokemon content. And peep the links in the description of the video. There's a website, shop my website, maxpacks.com. Help me buy a house. And join the Discord. It is free. That's all I got for you guys. This is Max Packs signing out. I'll see y'all on the next video.